Today we're going to look at some Harlequin dinnerware made by the factory from 1978 to 1983. This is commonly called reissue Harlequin. It differs from the vintage Harlequin line in several ways. Vintage Harlequin was made from 1936 to 1964, 12 different colors, rather extensive assortment that could be purchased in open stock. In 1979, Woolworths celebrated their 100th anniversary, so they reissued the line. It was only made in 4 colors, and you could only buy it in 2 different ways. Either a service for 8, 45 pieces, or a 20-piece service for 4. So they were in box sets. There was no open stock. There was a third option towards the end of the run. It was a little generic box, a 5-piece completer set. So you had the sugar bowl, its lid, the creamer, the chop plate or the round platter, and the vegetable bowl or nappy. So here's an original box, 45-piece service for 8. This was sealed up and I cracked it open today so we could look at all the available pieces. Inside the box were a couple unexpected items. First of all, an original brochure. You open it up and you see the 2 offerings, the 45-piece service for 8 and the 20-piece service for 4. The reverse talks a little bit about the anniversary of Woolworths. There are also these 2 little tags inside. Inspected by number 20. Please enclose this slip with any correspondence. And then inspected by number 2. So here are all the available items. There were 8 cups, 8 saucers. There are the saucers. 8 salad plates, which are basically 7-inch plates. 8 soups and cereals, which are in vintage line, that's called the 36's oatmeals. And then the dinner plates, which are basically 10-inch plates. So you got 2 of each color. This is called, a lot of collectors call this reissue green. It was just called green in the vintage advertisements. It's very similar to medium green. All of the 10-inch plates were marked. This one's from 1978, which is the first year of production. We'll compare it with medium green from the 60s. And you can see that the reissue green is a bit darker. Sometimes it's called milkier. It has a slightly muddy appearance compared to the vibrant color of the vintage medium green. The other color was coral. So this was a new glaze, only used in this reissue line. Although I have seen some hearthside pieces in this color. Though I don't know if that was just test pieces or if that was an official line. Again, the 10-inch plates are going to be marked with the back stamp. That was pretty common practice for the time. And when you get to the late 1960s and all through the 70s and 80s, only the dinner plates were marked. Sometimes platters and chop plates may be marked, but none of the other pieces were marked. And when you look at vintage Harlequin, none of it was marked. Turquoise and yellow, which are actually very close to their vintage counterparts. The covered sugar and creamer. Creamer uses the same mold. However, the sugar was redesigned. In the vintage sugar and creamer, the handles and finials were cast separate and then hand applied and fired. But here they're made as part of the mold. So it's made as one piece, so they're solid. Move some stuff around. Then we have the vegetable bowl in the green and a coral chop plate, or as it was called in the box sets, round platters. So those were the standard colors, and every once in a while you'll come across some odd ones. So here's the nappy or vegetable bowl in coral and a round platter in yellow. You can also find these vegetable bowls in yellow And usually when it's in yellow, whether it be the vegetable bowl or the chop plate, they'll have like a back stamp. So this one's 1983. So those are some oddities right there, but for the most part, you're going to see these standard colors. The reissue green was also used on Dover. And the yellow was also used on Dover. And such pieces are often marked with a General Housewares back stamp. So that's a little bit about Reissue Harlequin. Limited assortment, short production run, though it's not that difficult to find.